So welcome everybody to this latest video on 162 Maths, and in this video we'll be going over the AQA GCSE November 2017 Foundation Paper 1, which is a non-calculator paper. Now I will include a copy of the link of the paper in the description below, so I strongly recommend you have an attempt at the paper before watching this video and go through the answers, and as always I'll include the grade boundaries for this individual paper in the description below. So let's get started on this November 2017 Foundation Paper 1, which is a non-calculator paper. So looking at question 1, it says, or it asks us to circle the decimal that is the same value as 3 over 5. Now 3 over 5 is the same as 6 over 10, which is 0.6. Then for question 2, how many millimeters are there in 7.5 centimeters? Well, to convert, we just need to multiply that by 10, and 7.5 times 10 is 75. Then for question 3, it says, which of these shapes has two lines of symmetry? Well, if we do a quick sketch, we can see that a semicircle has got one line of symmetry. A rhombus has got two, so there is our answer. A trapezium, regardless of how you draw it, has only got one. And an isosceles triangle, again, has only got one line of symmetry, so the correct answer there is rhombus. Then for question 4, it says circle the number that is 7 less than minus 12. So here we want to do minus 12 minus 7, which is minus 19. And then question 5a, then we just need to solve these equations. So we add 3, so we get x equals 17. And then for b, we divide by 5, giving us y equals 9. Now I've put another y there, so let's get rid of that. And what plus 8 gives you 6? Well, if we take away the 8, we've got 6 minus 8, which is minus 2. Then moving on to question 6, it says work out, then we just need to do some long division. So if we set up our bus stop, now we should know our 11 times table. If not, it's worth just writing down what they are. So you've got 11, 22, 33, and so on. And you want to go all the way up to 99. So in terms of this, how many 11's going to 9 is 0, so we carry the 9. That's going to be 8, remainder 3, 3, remainder 4. And then we've got 4, giving us a final answer of 8, 3, 4. Then with question 6b, it's just a case of working out, adding these numbers, writing our answer as a mixed number. So here we want a common denominator because we're adding, and our common denominator here is going to be 42. So if I just write over 42, so this first fraction, I need to multiply that by 7, so 5 times 7 is 35. And the second fraction, I need to multiply that by 6, so I get 18 over 42. Then all I then need to do is then add the two numerators together, so 35 plus 18 gives me an answer of 53 over 42, and then I just need to convert that into a mixed number, which gives me 1 and 11 over 42. It's worth checking just to make sure, can you simplify 11 over 42? No, you can't, so that there will be our final answer. Then question 7, it says the diagram shows the scores given by judges during a television show, and the question 7a says what score was the most. So we're looking for which score has got the highest bar, and that's going to have an answer of 4. The next question then says there are 4 judges. Each judge gives 1 score in each round. So what we need to do here is add up all the total frequencies and divide it by 4 because we've got 4 judges. So here if I add up the numbers, I've got 3, I've got 6, I've got 6, I've got 9, and I've got 4. So I just need to add, so for part B, add up those numbers. So 3 plus 6 plus 6 plus 9 plus 4 gives me an answer of 28. I then do 28 divided by 4 gives me an answer of 7. So there are 7 rounds. Let's just write that answer there. Then for question 8, it says that a library book was due to be returned on the 27th of September. It was actually returned on the 14th of October. There's an 8p fine for every day that the book is late. Work out the total fine. So the key thing to remember here is that there are 30 days in September. So what we need to do first then, so we've got 3 more days in September, and then we've got the 14 days in October, giving us 17 days. So then I need to multiply 17 by 8p. So if I do 17 times 8, or whichever way you want to do, so whether the grid method or the column method or whichever floats your boat, we get an answer of 136p, and convert that in pounds is £1.36. Then in question 9, it says, in a game, 3 stars are hidden at random. Each star is behind a different square on the board. A square is chosen at random. What is the probability that there is a star behind it? So here, how many stars have we got? Well, we've got 3. And how many squares have we got to choose from? Well, we've got 25. So the answer then is 5 over 25. 3 over 25 rather. Then for question 9b, it says, in one game, the stars are behind 3 consecutive squares. The squares are in one row or one column. One of these squares is E2. Write down all the possible pairs and the other two for the other 2 squares. So we know that there is a star in this here, and we know that they're in 3 consecutive ones. So it can either be in this one, or it could start in where the star is. So it could be there, but going horizontally, it could be here or here. So what I just need to do is write down the pairs. So it's either going to be in E1 and E3. It could be in E3 and E4, or it could be in C2 and D2. So there are our 3 pairs, and that's our answer for B. Then moving on to question 10, it says complete the table to show the equivalent fractions and percentages. So this one is going to be 30%, this one's going to be 43 over 100, and this one here is going to be 250%. Then moving on to question 11. So here it says cards are in a pack are red or blue in the ratio of 2 to 3. What fraction of the cards are red? So here, how many parts have we got? Well, we've got a total of 5 parts, and how many of those 5 parts are red? It's 2, so it's going to be 2/5. Then the question says a different pack has 72 cards, 5 over 9 are yellow. Work out the number of yellow cards. So what we need to work out is what 5/9 of 70, oh, don't know why I've put 2 there, of 72. So here we're going to do 72 rather, what is going on? 72 rather, divided by 9, which gives me 8. I then need to do 8 times 5, which is 40. Then with question 12, it says how many edges are there in a square-based pyramid? And there are going to be, what if I just draw a square-based pyramid? I'm counting how many lines have I drawn? Well, I've drawn 8. So there is my final answer. For question 12b, it says how many faces of a triangular prism are triangles? And that's going to be 2 of them. It then says that a bus can be early, on time or late. The probability the bus is early is 0.1. Probability of the bus being on time is 0.6. What is probability of the bus being late? Well, all of these 3 probabilities need to add up to 1. So if I do 1, take away 0.1, take away 0.6, I should have an answer of, well, these 2 added together is 0.7. So what do you have to add to 0.7 to get 1? Well, I need another 0.3. Then with question 14, it says on the grid, draw the graph of x plus y equals 2 for the values of -3 to 3. So for this, what we need to do is just make up 2 numbers for x. So if we pick 2 smallish numbers, so let's go for x equals 0 and x equals 1. So what plus 0 gives you 2? Well, I need y must equal 2. And what plus 1 gives you 2? Y must equal 1. So these are the coordinates that I then need to plot. So on the graph, if I plot those coordinates, I've got 0, 2, and I've got 1, 1. So what I need to do then is draw a straight line that connects those 2 points, but it's got to make sure that it goes through to -3 and 3. So if I draw my line through those, and again, ridiculously awkward on the computer, yours should be a lot easier. So if I just draw a line through those 2 and then just extend it. Now, whenever you are drawing a straight line on a graph in an exam, just make sure that it goes all the way up to the borders, just so you're not losing any silly marks. So it should look something like that. Then with question 15, it says that 5% of a number is 31, 1% of the same number is 6.2, work out 13%. Now for this, what you want to do is recognize that 13% using these percentages is 5% plus 5% plus 1% plus 1% plus 1%. So to work out 13%, if I do 31 plus 31 plus 6.2 plus 6.2 and plus 6.2, notice how I've done all those numbers in nice neat columns. I then just need to add them all up. Now if you want to write plus 0, then that's absolutely fine. Just make sure your zeros don't look like 6s. Then if we add all of these numbers up, I get 6. Then I get a 0 to carry the 2, and then we get 8. So I get an answer of 80.8. Then with question 16, it says complete the grid so that when you multiply the three numbers in any column, row or diagonal, the answer is 1. So for this, if we look at this number here, well, we've got 10 times a half. Well, 10 times a half is the same as dividing by 2. So what do you have to divide by 2 to get 1? Well, I need a fifth, because 10 divided by 2 is 5, and then so it's going to be 1 over 5. Then for the next one, I've got 1/20 times 20 is 1. So what do I need to multiply 1 to get 1? Well, I need another 1. And 2 times 5 is 10. What do you have to multiply 10 to get 1? Well, I need to multiply it by 1 over 10. Then looking at question 17, it says that a sequence has 3 terms. The term-to-term rule of the sequence is multiply by 8 and add 11. The first term of the sequence is -1. Work out the third term. So the first term is -1. So the second term, I need to take the first term, which is -1, and multiply that by 8, which gives me -8. Add 11, so -8 plus 11 equals 3. So then the third term is where I take the previous term, which is 3, I multiply that by 8, which is 24, plus 11. So I got 24 plus 11, which gives me an answer of 35. Then says that the order of the 3 terms is reversed to make a new sequence. Work out the term-to-term rule of this sequence. Now to do the reverse, all I need to do is do the reverse in the reverse order. So the opposite of adding 11 is to subtract 11. So here I'm going to subtract 11. And the opposite of multiplying by 8 is to divide by 8. And that just needs to be written on the line there. Then the next question, question 18, it says ABCD is a quadrilateral. Sides are extended as shown. Show that x equals 100. So again, I can show my working out on the diagram, but let's just go through it anyway. So this angle here is going to be 70. Why? Because it is opposite. Then from this, what I then know is that angles inside a quadrilateral add up to 360. So what I then know is that 360 minus 70 minus 90 minus 120 all equal, and let's just call this angle here y. So if I work that out, so 70 plus 90 is 160 minus 120, so I've got 360 minus 280 gives me an answer of y. So y equals, and it's going to be 80 degrees. So this angle here is 80, and then to work out what x is going to be 180 minus 80, so x equals 100 degrees, which is what they asked me to show. Then for question 19, it says that use that 2 gallons equals 9 litres to convert 17 gallons into litres. Now there's a couple of ways in which we could do this. Well, we can recognise that 1 gallon is going to equal 4.5 litres. So I could either do, so method 1 you could do is do 4.5 times 17. Or for method 2, what you could work out is that 2g equals 9l, so 4g is going to equal 18l, 6g is going to equal 27l, and again just going to go through the 9 times table and the 2 times table, so 8g equals 36, 10g equals 45 litres, 12g equals 54L, 14G equals 63L, 16G gallons equals 72 litres, and then from the 16 all they need to do is add another 4.5, and so method 2 is going to be 72 plus 4.5, which gives me a total of 76.5 litres, and that should give me, which either way I do it, I should get the same answer. Then moving on to question 20, it says n is odd and p is prime. In each part, write down the possible values of n and p. Now, there are so many different combinations you could have for this particular question. So again, going through the examples, you could have 1 and 3, you could have 3 and 13, you could have 5 and 11, you could have 7 and 2 or 29. You could have 9 and 7. You could have 11 and 5. You could have 13 and 3 or 27. You could have 17 or 19. The count is endless. So any of those combinations could be absolutely fine. So I'm just going to go for 1 and 3. Question 20b, again, NP is a square number. We'll find possible values for NP, just one combination. So again, any of the lines of where the two numbers are the same, and they've got to be a prime number. So 3 and 3, 5 and 5, 7 and 7, 11 and 11, 13 and 13, 17 and 17, etc. So I'll just go for 5 and 5. Now with question 21, it says Joe wants to bisect angle BCD. Here is his method. Use a compass, a pair of compasses, and draw arcs in the same radius of B and D. Draw a straight line from C through the intersection of the arcs. Write down the error in his method. So something along the lines of where it's obviously not worked out is, I would say that the arcs should be drawn. Oh, I do not know what happened there. So the arcs should be drawn from the same distance along CB and CD. So something along those lines, the fact that he should have put his pin there and drawn an arc from C onto the lines BC and CD, and then from there drawn another arc in which that's what he should have. Now for question 21b, it says K wants to show all the possible points that are 3 kilometers from point B. So what we need to do here is set the compass so that in your compass, the distance between the pencil, a very bad drawing there, and the pin, this distance here needs to be 3 centimeters. And then what you then need to do is to draw a circle. Now, I've just noticed that this isn't the question. It says, here is our answer. What is wrong with the answer? And the question we need to say is something along the lines of the fact that it should be a circle and that the corners are longer than 3 centimeters or 3 kilometers. Something along those lines would have been fine. For question 21c, it says here is a rectangle. It says use a pair of compasses and a straight edge to construct one line of symmetry. Clearly show your construction lines. Now there's 2 reflection lines we can draw, and we just need to do one of them. So for this line here, what you need to do is set your compass so that it's more than half the length from the width. So if I just call this A and B, so set your compass so it's put your pin on A, make sure your pencil is beyond the line of the dotted line. You then need to draw an arc from A, then without adjusting the compass, draw an arc from B, and it should look something that looks like that, and then draw a dashed line through those 2 points. Alternately, what you could do is look at these 2 points here, and what you need to do, put your compass on A or your pin on A, measure your distance between the pin and the pencil is more than halfway, and then draw an arc. So you should end up with something that looks like that, let's say. And then without adjusting your compass, set it on to C, and you should end up with something that looks like this, and then draw with a straight edge or with a ruler, draw a line. So you should either have the green dashed line or the purple dashed line. And again, do not rub out your arts because that is your working out. Then with question 22, we move on to a ratio to equations question. So here it says that the ratio of x to y is in the ratio of 7 to 4. X plus y is 88. Work out the value of x, take away y. Now, this one is a little bit tricky, but not that tricky because we've been given the parameters. Now here, 88 is the total sum, because obviously you add the numbers up, which is 88, so that's the total. So what we need to do, and what this question is doing, is share 88 in the ratio of 7 to 4. And 7 to 4 is where x to y. So here if we do 88 divided by 7 plus 4, which is 11, we get that each part is worth 8. So 7 times 8 is going to be 56, and 4 times 8 is 32. So here if x equals 56 and y equals 32, then x minus y is going to be 56 minus 32, which gives me an answer of 24. Then moving on to question 23, it says that Anil's home is 1 kilometre from a shop. He walked from home to the shop at a constant speed of 10 minutes. He stayed at the shop for 5 minutes. He then walked home at a constant speed for another 8 minutes. Anil drew his distance time graph to represent his journey. Make 2 criticisms of the graph. Well, his first criticism is that from the 0 to 10 minutes, the line should be straight, not curved, if travelling at a constant speed. So constant speed is usually represented by a straight line. And criticism 2 is that from 15 to 25, in other words, his journey home, the line should be going down. So in other words, it should be here, not there. So the line should actually be there. Then for question 24, it says that 3 whole numbers are rounded to nearest 10. The sum of the rounded numbers is 70. Work out the maximum possible sum of the original 3 numbers. Now, when you are rounding a number to the nearest integer to nearest 10, then usually your number starts in a 5. So if I just write something 5, and it can equal that number, and it will end in a number that starts something 4. So that means that we're adding, for the upper bound, we are adding an extra 4. So for the upper bound, we are adding an extra 4. Now, if we've got 3 numbers, then in total, what we've got is plus 12. Now, if the number's been rounded to 70, then we can add another 3 lots of 4, which is 12. So that means that if we add up, the maximum that it could be is going to be 70 plus 12, which is 82. Then with question 25, it says circle the expression for the range of n consecutive integers. Well, if we had 2 integers, so 2 and 3, so here we've got n equals 2 because we've got 2 numbers, and the range of those numbers is 1. Then if we had 2, 3, 4, well, I've got 3 numbers there and the range is 2. If I had 2, 3, 4, 5, then I've got 4 numbers and the range is 3. So which of these formulas represents the how to get from this number to the range? Well, it's going to be n take away 1. Then with question 26, it says 3 identical isosceles triangles are joined to make a trapezium. Each triangle has a base of b and a perpendicular height of h. Work out the expression in terms of b and h, the area of the trapezium. Now the area of trapezium is where I add these 2 lengths here together. So that's going to be b plus 2b. Multiply that by h and I divide it by 2. Now if I simplify that, b plus 2b is 3b. So it's going to be 3bh divided by 2. Now can I simplify that? No. So then that there is my final answer. Then for question 26b, it says the diagram shows the same trapezium. B to S is 2 in the ratio of 2 to 3. Work out the expression in terms of B, the perimeter of the trapezium. Now what I need to do, so this again is B, this is B. I need to convert S into B. So B to S is 2 to 3. So convert this into an equation. I'm going to have B over S equals, and it's going to be 2 over 3. Then what I need to do is do some cross multiplying, in which I get 3b equals 2s. I then need to make s the subject, so I get rid of the 2. So I get that 3b divided by 2 equals s. So s equals 1.5b. So then if this is 1.5b, this length here is 1.5b, then the perimeter starting here is going to be b plus 1.5b plus b plus b plus another 1.5b, and if I add all of these things together, I get a total of 6b. Then moving on to question 27, it says here is a quarter circle with a radius of 6. Work out the area of the quarter circle, give your answer in terms of pi. So here in terms of the area, if this was a full circle it would be pi r squared, but it's a quarter circle, so I divide that by 4. So here the radius is 6. So I get pi times 6 squared, all divided by 4. So that gives me pi times 36 divided by 4, which gives me 36 pi over 4. 36 divided by 4 is 9. So then the answer then is 9 pi. For question 28a, it says write these in standard form. So this is going to be 12.5. Oh no, it's going to be 1.25. times 10 to the power of 1, 2, 3, 4. Then for the second one, it's going to be 3.4 times 10 to the power of minus 2, so it's going to represent a small number. So I've got 2 zeros because I've got minus 2 and 3, 4. So the answer then is 0.034. Then for question 29, it says work out the value of root 3 squared times root 2 squared. Well, root 3 squared is equal to root 9, which is equal to 3, and root 2 squared is equal to root 4, which is equal to 2. So 3 times 2 is going to give me an answer of 6. Then looking at question 30, it says that 4 candidates in an election were A, B, C and D. The pie chart shows the proportion of the votes in for each candidate. Work out the probability that person who voted, chosen at random, voted for C. Now for this, what I need to do is to find the value of X first. So from this, to work out what X is, I know all of these angles added up add up to 360. So here I've got 90 plus X plus 2x plus 10 plus 2x all add up to 360. Now if I neaten all of this up, I'm going to get an answer of x plus 2x is 5x. So I get 5x plus 100 equals 360. I then get 5x equals 260. And then how many 5s go into 260? Well, that's going to give me 52. So from this, what I then need to know then is that angle C is going to be 2 lots of 52 plus 10. 2 times 52 is 104. So 104 plus 10 is 114 degrees. Now to work out the probability, well, if angle C is 114, the total circle is 360. So then all I then need to do is simplify 114 over 360, which simplifies to be 19 over 60. Now, if I didn't simplify, would I still get full marks? I would say yes, because the question doesn't specify whether to simplify your final answer. Now for question 31, A, it's factorizing. Now you should be able to recognize that this is a difference of 2 squares. So looking at this, setting up the double brackets, what do you have to square to get x squared? Well, that's going to be x. What do you have to square to get 100? That's going to be 10. One's a plus, one's a minus. Job done. Then finally, for question 31b, we've got a double-sided equation. I want to take the smallest amount of x's. So I take away 2x from both sides. So I'm left with 5x plus 6 is equal to 1. Then I take the 6 over. So I get 5x is less than minus 5. Then take the 5 over, giving me a final answer of x is greater than minus 1, or you could write your answer as x is, oh no, minus 1 is smaller than x. Any of those two answers would be absolute spot on. And that concludes the end of this paper. Now, once you've marked your paper, if you tally up your score, I'll include the grade boundaries for this individual paper in the description below.